Welcome to Friday Vibes. No scripts, just chat. We talk all things food and beverage, and so much more. Feel our vibe and search for Friday Vibes on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And make sure to give us a 5-star review. Now your hosts, me, Alex Baer with Genius Juice, and Wade Yeti. All right, welcome to episode 55 of Friday Vibes. I am your humble and cool hat and t-shirt wearing, sponsor wearing co-host, Alex Baer, CEO and co-founder of Genius Juice. And we have Wade, who you're still muted. Going to tell you ahead of time. My co-host over there. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. How's that? Does that sound, I'm still working with this technology. Does it sound all right?
Sounds pretty good, but we'll let the people decide that. You can actually go a little further away because a little bit of an echo, but I think that's because you're in an echo chamber in your house. So
I am. We hope to rectify that here in a couple. If all goes well, we'll close on the aforementioned property in the next 2 weeks.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. And anyone that wants to send me a housewarming gift, they can Venmo me. I'm sure they can figure out how to do that. But so lots to go through in the next 2 months or so, but we'll figure it out. It's exciting. And, all those things that goes with buying a property. It's a lot of stress and fun at the same time.
Yeah. And once you're moved in there, it's like a blank canvas. You can do whatever the hell you want.
Like padded walls for more than one reason. We're going to have carpet. We'll figure all that out. Like the room that I'm in now, there's all, the linoleum type flooring. And so it does absolutely echo in this room regardless. So.
Yeah. And also you have a space for Francesca. You're, the mannequin.
I told Renee we're going to put Francesca in the basement. And she says, at the new house. And she says, well, we don't have a basement in the new house. I said, exactly. Yeah. So that didn't go over well. So I think she's still going to come with us, where her location will be determined at some point.
Got it. All right. Well, to reset the room, we're going to be doing some shout outs here. This is one of the episodes where we don't have a guest. Some episodes we do. We had a guest last week, Luke Abbott, our sponsor and CEO and founder of V-Driven. This week, there's no guests. Unless you're a first-time listener or viewer to the show, then we're both guests to you because we're new. If there's certain ways to look at that. But let me shout out some of the comments here. Everyone's looking good. The LinkedIn posts are great. The engagement. There's been a lot of engagement this week, Wade, on LinkedIn. I'm really loving it. We're going to talk about the Unify show. We're going to talk about some of my posts about other aforementioned distributors. I'm using that word that you just used, aforementioned.
That's the word of the day, Alex.
Word of the day.
Yes.
Word of the day. It's the vibe. New segment, the vibe word of the day. So some comments we're going to go through here. Hope everyone is doing well on this fine Friday. So we got Kenny Hausman. Happy Aloha Friday. How you doing, buddy? We have LinkedIn user. You'll have to help me with that one, Wade. I'm not looking at the event page. Whenever someone posts on here and they're maybe on their phone, it comes up as LinkedIn user, which is not their real name.
That's Rich Moniz.
That's Rich Moniz. Just talked to him this morning, and I'm wearing the Rich Insights hat. More to come on that. I'm taking notes right now. All right. So Jonathan Bonnell, happy Friday, everyone. He has the wholesome veggies, right? His name
Holy veggies.
Holy veggies. And I saw him at Sprouts. Not congratulations that you're with Kahee, but congratulations that you're in Sprouts. There's no holds barred on this show, man. I say whatever the fuck we want.
I feel like this is going to be a roast. This is going to be a roast of some kind. I feel like it's coming.
Yeah, better be careful though. I mean, there are people in high places there. So, and it's not in the basement. Okay, so we have Jeannie Gregory. Happy Friday. They are one of the sponsors for today, Azure. So that's some cleaning products. She's also with Missy J's as well. They're kind of a conglomerate. And what else? Julie Elder, last week's co-winner. Happy Friday, amazing people. Adam Cardenas, my man. Happy Friday. Truly one of my favorite smoothies in the world. Alex, HMU, please, when able. What is that? Hit me up. Okay.
I'm hip. I'm hip like that, Alex. I'll help you out.
More hip than me than I could ever be, especially with that tie-dye cup you're drinking from. Adam is the co-founder of Whitestone, which is a DSD distributor. I think they delivered the Jimbos, didn't they?
I believe we did a little bit of business. That was something we were working on while I was out there. I'm not sure where they are today, but yeah, I do know Adam.
Cool. Right on. So good guy. He co-founded Whitestone, which used to be called Comfy House Foods in Southern California. They were one of our early distributors for Genius Juice, and great guys. Michael Bendos, Quantum Energy. Saw them at Whole Foods the other day. It's cool. Hey, yo, happy to see everyone. Happy to see you too.
I saw him in Orlando.
Nice. I want to hear all about your encounters and people you ran into in Orlando. You were already on the map. Now you're really on the map. So I want to hear about all that. And then Sean Berg and then Michael Bendos again. So let's start out with the Unify Orlando show. It happened this week. Genius Juice was not there. Gavin, our sales guy, was there representing another company. Wade, how was the show? Tell us.
It was good. It was a little hectic. We got in Monday. It's a long day, right? I mean, I think I left Greensboro around the flight out was at 7. So, I'm at the airport 5:30, 5:45, get to Orlando 1:30, land, blah, 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 wait for an Uber, get the hotel. So, it was a long day and really not a lot going on Monday. We also had our South American, my company was purchased, or controlling interest of the company was purchased in June of last year by Syncosud out of South America. So we had some of their contingency with us. So there was a lot of moving pieces going on there, trying to get them acclimated and also, working with them to help with their aspirations, what they were trying to achieve at the show. So the one thing I would say was it was busy, especially initially, right? I mean, the show is all day Tuesday, so I think the hours were 9 to 5. Wednesday, I snuck out early because of travel, but I want to say the show was only open till 2 o'clock on Wednesday. But my initial impression on Tuesday was there's a lot of people here. I mean, it was jammed up pretty well. The other takeaway, and we're going to get into a lot of this, but the other takeaway I would say is that, I understand competitive reasons. And the fact of the matter is that a lot of people in this space do business with both Kahee and Unify. And I don't know that it benefited either party to have the show at the exact same time, be at two different locations. But
yeah,
I know I saw a lot of people I saw a lot of people in Orlando. that I expected to see. But then a lot of people I talked to said, "Oh no, they're at KE, they're in Nashville," and so there was representation in Orlando for the parties that I was expecting to see that were in Nashville, and I'm sure it was vice versa. But there was a lot of that going on. So I think there was a little bit of people had to choose where am I going to be as far as especially retailers, right? And I think that's what I guess I would like to speak to is simply, again, I understand the competitive nature of it, but if you could go to both shows, I think obviously, selfishly, it would be productive for a retailer to be able to attend both shows. But logistically, I don't see how it would have been possible given the way things were scheduled. And there's another show at the same time, although less competitive in Kansas City. It was the AWG show, which is so there was a lot going on. And, again, as adults, if you're not traveling with children or unless you have some kind of Mickey Mouse thing going on in your life, I think if you had your choice, you're probably picking Nashville over Orlando just because Nashville is a lot easier to navigate as far as, traffic and all that stuff going on. But I don't know, Alex, what'd you hear?
Yeah, I mean, I saw all the posts on LinkedIn, right? I saw people at Orlando, mostly posts for KE Nashville. I saw at least more posts about it. Not saying it was more attended, but yeah, I mean, there's companies like Dream Pops that were like, we went to all three, and then like David Greenfeld, the owner of Dream Pops, posted a photo, their booth in all three shows. So I'm not sure why it happened like that. Maybe they're looking at it like we need to get out ahead of Expo West and not be in conflict with Expo West. Maybe they just really love Valentine's Day and they wanted to get it in before Valentine's Day. I don't know the reasons behind it. But you know what? I talked to brands that were working that show. They wrote a lot of orders. They got access to independents and smaller chains that, the founders right there or the manager that orders and decides on new items was right there in front of your booth. And they're like, oh yeah, we'll do a deal. Like we'll buy 5 and you give us 3 or whatever it is. So what I do like about the shows is that you can just like write orders like that. You can do business. I talked to one brand that wrote, over 300 and something cases. That's a pallet, just in a 2-day period, or I think it was 2 days. So all good. I mean, I think the price is a few $1,000s. So if you're not writing a big book of business, you're wasting your money. The other common mistake that I see with some of these brands is that they're not in a lot of DCs. They're not in a lot of warehouses. So like there's all these opportunities, but they can't write the order because they're not in that warehouse. And to open up a new warehouse, I mean, I think minimum you need like 30 to 40 accounts pulling from that warehouse, unless you have an anchor account like Whole Foods or Sprouts or Fresh Market or something like that. But overall, I heard good things. Nothing real negative. Some of the smaller brands suffered from not being activated in all DCs, and that was about it.
Well, you mentioned Dream Pops and David. I actually did get to see David
Cool.
in Orlando, which was really cool.
Such a nice guy. Awesome
absolutely,
guy.
Absolutely. And it's funny because we just talked or caught up a week or two ago via Zoom. So it was good to see him. Actually, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the first time I've met him in person. So that was kind of cool. Yeah, I agree with a lot of what you said. I think, it goes without saying, as a brand, you need to make sure it's money well spent, however you spend your money. And, the one thing that I saw too, and I saw it a lot more on what I would call the fresh side, more so than what I would call center store, that there weren't brands sampling their products. And although I did see several on the center store side, and it was funny, and I'm certainly not going to name names here, but I had someone hassling me to give an order for their booth, and they were introducing quote unquote new items. They weren't sampling a single thing. They had a visual representation of the product, like live samples in finished packaging, but they weren't sampling anything. I'm like, okay, and I tried, me, I'm pretty recognizable, but I tried to kind of do like this and hide my badge a little bit because I want people to have a conversation with me because of they want to sell their product, not because I'm Wade from wherever I'm from, right? And my at that particular booth, my name tag was visible, so that individual knew who I was from or what company I was representing. And she's asking me to write an order for products that, they're not sampling. And I'm just kind of looking at her like she's speaking alien language. I'm just like, what are you talking about? You want me to write you're talking to me about your product. It's allegedly new, which I don't think that it was. And it just was a very, very odd interaction. And it's one of those things that, we talk about this all the time, right? You spend a couple $1,000s for a booth, get there and talk to people, and it's your opportunity to put product in people's hands and mouths. And if you're not doing that, you're doing yourself a disservice. And the other thing I'd say is, whether it's yourself, your VP of sales, director of sales, whoever you have attend these shows on your behalf, if you hire someone out that for everything that I can put out there for you, tell them to put their damn computers away. You know what I mean? I mean, unless they're punching an order in,
and phones. And phones.
Yes, yeah. If you're sitting there at a booth, that you paid several $1,000s for, there's someone representing your company on your behalf, and they're texting Lord knows who, or they're scrolling TikTok, whatever they're doing, man, I got to tell you, that's a bad look. It's a really bad look. And it's not, I'm not speaking just for me. It's not an ego thing. It's just like, you walk up to a booth and you kind of are looking at some product, and it's like, there's the individual on the other side is just mesmerized with whatever device they have in their hands. It's like, man, they've got to be focused on the stream of people that are walking through. And I said it before, this show was very, very busy, especially on Tuesday. Wednesday, I can't speak to because I didn't spend a lot of time on the floor on Wednesday, aside from seeing your guy, Gavin. But on Tuesday, there was a stream of people. And if you or your company was represented by someone that was knee deep, eye deep, whatever deep in a device, man, you missed the boat, because there was a lot of opportunity there.
Yeah. I mean, it reminds me of my days when I was, doing demos. I still will go out and do demos myself when our new shot plug launches in a couple months. But when Genius, our smoothies, first launched, I was doing demos at, Bristol Farms and Whole Foods. And I remember, this is all pre-pandemic, and Erewhon. I remember there was one night, it was at night at Erewhon, which it's pretty busy at night, but obviously nothing like the day. And it was me at this little booth, like very, very small, like maybe 3 feet across. And there was another person next to me demoing something completely different. And their product was good. It was like a cookie. It was something pretty damn good. Like I was eating it off their table when they went to the bathroom, but that's a side story. So we're next to each other. I'm demoing, they're demoing. I'm the founder, so a co-founder. So I'm going to be engaging everyone, like anyone and everyone. And when there was no one coming up to my table, I would go to the staff, right? Because if the staff is on board with it, they're going to tell customers about it, and they're going to wear your hat, your shirt. So this is all just a kind of a billboard effect. And that night I sold like 70 units. I sold out the entire shelf, because every person was important. They could be a customer. They could try the product. If they hate coconut, they tell me right away, they move on. The person next to me sold like less than 10. She wasn't a founder. She was an employee or like a hired person. I think that's a problem with demos in general, that if you outsource demos, I'm not saying this is an Erewhon thing. I'm saying in general, if you outsource and hire someone to do your demos and they're not passionate, you're spending, what is it, $70 an hour or whatever it is for some of these demo people for travel, car, gas, and also product samples, and they're just not getting you a return. So I've learned that it's good to send out your own team if you can, that are really passionate about it. But I did some quick math. If you went to the KE show or Unify show, you're spending about $200 an hour, 200, 250. So if you miss 2 hours because you're on your phone, or you took a break, and the table was left unattended, I'm sure you saw that, maybe like unattended.
Yep.
You're blowing several $100s per hour. So it's good to be just on your game. Were there any like notable booths that you saw, or other brands or
Yeah,
products?
so I'll try and be as impartial as I can
Yes,
as
yes.
far as
Just
that goes. But
personal enjoyment.
the pitch slam, they had a little pitch slam thing that was kind of interesting on Monday night, which again, if I'm being critical, it was, in my opinion, you're scheduling an event like that on the night when people are still arriving. I mean, speaking for my team, I would say 25-30% of my team wasn't even there yet to attend the pitch slam if they wanted to. But I made it there. I think there were 6 brands represented. There were a couple neat things that I saw there that were interesting. One particular, I will shout out if I can. I have to think about the name. I'm gonna butcher this.
While you're thinking of that, some shout outs.
Yes.
Mark Samuel, yo fellas, enjoy the weekend. Good to see you on here, buddy. That's it. Yeah, Dima Moraru. I'm just not. There's ones that we've already shouted out, and they're doing multiple
I'm gonna
comments.
I'm gonna put the link to this in the chat because I don't know how to say it. But
Living Maka.
well, but I look at it and it has the little thing over top that makes it think that the A is long, so it's like make a or something. But regardless, so this is a energy / wellness, what have you, drink. So each can has the equivalent of 8 shots of wheatgrass in it.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's a lot of wheatgrass.
But what I would tell you is that it doesn't taste. If you go to a smoothie bar or something like that, right? You get your shot of wheatgrass, maybe 2 shots. It didn't taste that. It was enjoyable. The drink was very good. I was kind of blown away just by that. Your reaction right there, Alex, to say, "Wow, that's a lot of wheatgrass," and I thought the same thing. And a wheatgrass shot, I think, if I use their numbers, I think a wheatgrass shot is like $3.99. Maybe if you're someplace a little cheaper, it's $2 to add a shot to a existing smoothie or something like that. But this thing, allegedly, and I say that just because I'm just telling you what they told me, that it has 8 shots in this drink. It's organic. It's loaded with chlorophyll, nutrients, vitamins, all that good stuff. It was pretty crazy. So that one was the one that kind of, at that pitch slam, that stood out to me. It was like, okay, this is different. I haven't seen anything like that before. So
who won the pitch slam?
So all right, I gotta do a little Googling here. So tap dance for me for a second. Let me find it here.
And,
it was
Scott Marcus said, I tried Maca at an Erewhon demo years ago. Really tasty. I'm not a wheatgrass fan. Cool. All right.
I've got this coming up here. I've got to find the owner.
Want me to keep tap dancing?
No, you're good. You're good. I'm going to paste it in now. So the winner of their pitch slam was Jaju Pierogies, and one of their owners. They're 2 sisters. One of their founders, I should say, 2 sisters, Vanessa and Casey. I can't swear which one was there, but they won the pitch slam, and I credit where it's due. The reason she stood out, she was very energetic. She did a self-written rap to the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. So cool. She had a little boombox up there. The
this
soundtrack.
Is a story.
Yes.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
So
I'm a big
she stood
fan.
out.
I'm a big fan of music with presentations, like the Shark Tank, that Genius Juice did. We did a song, and then my buddy, Aaron Gilmore at Brass Roots did a song. It was, I don't know if you saw the episode, but they had it was an interesting episode. Not to totally change the subject, I did, but I'll come back. Aaron Gilmore, they're a brand of Sacha Inchi products, like peanut Sacha Inchi butter, and then also puffs that have Sacha Inchi in it. And they were on Shark Tank, and they're from Louisiana. And I think we talked about this already, but for those that didn't tune in before, they did brass instruments introducing Aaron, and Aaron did a song. And then even after the song happened, where he was talking about like peanut butter has a lot of allergens, and the guy on the trumpet would go like wah wah, and then like, but Sacha Inchi's great. Wah, wah. Right. It was really funny. But yeah, I think pitch slams, I think where there's personality, it's funny, it's eye catching. and also memorable is what wins.
You've got a small window to make a big impression.
Yeah.
And while we're on that subject, real quick, one of the people I saw there and met, and I haven't seen a picture posted yet. I didn't take it. He did. Was Patrick Whitner from Sunny Culture. Do you know Patrick?
I do. I've interacted with him on LinkedIn, but have never met him in person. What is Sunny Culture? Remind me, what is their product?
So it's a it's not kombucha. It's like it's a probiotic drink.
Okay.
I want to say it's water, but it's flavored. It's got all the good stuff in it, and they made a good impression there because Patrick and one of his salespeople that was there with him was wearing a sunshine outfit the entire time. The entire time they were there.
I do remember that now.
Yeah. So I did get a picture with them, and cool. Yeah, I think they were standing out. I'm sure it wasn't great to be wearing that outfit the entire time they were there, but they were serving their drinks on tap out of a little system they had there.
Nice.
And they got a lot of pictures taken, drew a lot of attention, which again, to your point, you're spending all this money to be there. You got to stand out, right? And I'm sure people will remember the Sunshine Guy, regardless of what else they experienced at the show. The other thing I did get to meet, and I don't know if you know this individual, but we've interacted for literally at this point, I think years on LinkedIn. Moises Tovar from Harmons.
Yeah. Yep.
I got to meet him in person. He reached out to me and said, "Hey, I'm going to be down there. Let me know." And I texted him. We got to chat for probably 10 minutes or so on Tuesday. Just talk about the business and things like that. It was really, really cool to meet him in person and put a face to the name. So lots of good stuff.
Yeah, definitely one of those shows that it would have been nice for me to go to, and a lot of pictures. And I want to also really thank everyone for engaging so much on the posts that I did this week. I did one post, a personal one about suffered from anxiety for many years. I've gotten a lot better. I've been able to manage it. And obviously when you're an entrepreneur, anxiety just naturally happens. But like anything in life, stuff's going to happen. You're going to feel it. How well do you manage it? And how well do you navigate and push through the wall and get through that wall, that brick wall? So, I mean, it was one of the highest engaged posts I've done in the last probably 3 months. Got several tens of thousands of views and a lot of comments, a lot of love, a lot of support. So thank you guys for supporting me and just posting and commenting. And I got people also, Wade, that reached out by Messenger, by LinkedIn messaging, and said, "Hey, if you ever want to, I suffer from anxiety too. Like it's crippling sometimes, and I've gotten a lot better. If you want, I can share with you how I've been able to get through it." I had one person actually introduce me to their life coach as well. I got a text from another person. I'll leave them anonymous. It's a friend of mine. And he said, like, "Man, running my company, I'm having anxiety like every day. And I'm glad I'm not alone." He knew he wasn't alone, but he didn't know how people like myself close to him are actually going through this kind of stuff. And he's like, "Let's have a phone call. I want to talk through this." So I think that's what it's all about, right? Is being a resource and a sounding board for entrepreneurs, that there's a lot of shit going on in the background that we feel, that goes through our minds and our bodies and our hearts. And we're not able to express that. We got to keep it inside and, keep the smiley face that everything is good and we're crushing it. Right. And speaking of really, and I won't get too soapboxy on this, Wade, I think you know where I'm going, about kind of sharing true feelings, sharing how I feel about certain areas of this business, the CPG business. I did a post on KeHE, and most people saw it that are tuned in here, but it's really about some of the challenges with KeHE, where they have tremendous charge. But I'm not here to go, I'm not here to rain down on them or to criticize. That's that. Go ahead.
I was gonna say we should talk about it a little bit. So let me put my interviewer hat on here for a minute, because usually
Sure.
you get to wear the hat, and you're wearing the hat today. So let's just, I
Sure.
pretend I'm wearing a hat. So
Yep.
obviously there was a lot of truth and a lot of personal experience behind that post. What was there a motivating factor or something that happened recently that kind of drove that, or what was, what happened?
Yeah. So it's turning into a 15 minutes of genius reverse interview.
Yes.
So
No script, just chat.
no script, just chat.
Yeah.
So I think what brought us to this is we did an audit of 2022, right? We looked up and anyone who's, business owner, and Wade, you were a business owner with a restaurant, you looked at these, you look at your P&L, you look at your profit and loss, you look at what's making you money, what's not making you money, right? And we looked up all of our distributors and customers, right, that we work with, and partnerships. And KeHE had so many chargebacks, and so much loss. It was nearly double of like Unify or another distributor. But what's ironic is we're doing triple the amount of business with Unify than KeHE, just because of Whole Foods. And KeHE has more chargebacks than Unify, like way more. And
so I was going to say, and I want to cut you off. I just want to dive into
sure,
a little bit. So,
sure.
like, if you're talking to DCs, warehouses, things like that. So, in comparison, how many do you have at KeHE versus Unify?
I mean, off the top of my head, with Unify, we have like nine, and then KeHE, we have like 7.
Okay, and so if you're talking about volume, you said double at Unify versus KeHE.
Unify is about 3x. Yeah, 3x of Unify is 3x of KeHE, but the amount of chargebacks is like 2 to 3, like 2x more. So my whole point in this, like my post, was to tell entrepreneurs just to be careful, because I think this is just the nature of the beast. This is the nature of this business, where if you're not watching any distributor closely, right? I'm not just singling out KeHE, but other ones as well, then there's going to be errors, right? Because they have so many brands that they order from. The most typical error, and I got a lot of phone calls, Wade, you can probably believe that, like after my post, from entrepreneurs saying, man, I just went through that again, as well with KeHE or whoever, is you have to watch them closely to make sure that 2 things. KeHE either orders enough for a promotion, or orders enough for new store launches, or whatever that is. So there could be a shortage. Or the inverse is they order too much, right? They order too much and it's sitting in the warehouse. And if you have a short shelf life product, like when I say short shelf life, like less than 6 months is short in my book, they can go bad in the warehouse and there's chargebacks. But the part that really kind of revved me up is I reached out 4 times to someone at the company asking to review the freight. I'm like, these freight rates are insanely high. And I know that freight has gone up, but compared to any other distributor, yours is so high. Can you help me with this? And I reached out. Maybe she's no longer there, I don't know. But I reached out 4 times and got no response. So anyway, long story short, brands are going through this. It's not just with KeHE. I don't want to single just them out. But if you look at my post, I won't speak on, the behalf of others. If you look at my post and all the comments under my post,
you're not alone. You're not alone.
Not alone. And people are going through, I think, worse problems than me.
So diving into that a little bit, as far as you've been doing this now, how long?
Too long. 10 years.
Well, business with specifically, let's Unify and KeHE, how long?
5 years, 6 years.
So 5 years. So would you say that it has been progressively gotten worse in the last, let's call it 2 years, or is it about the same as it's always been?
I mean, there's an element where it's how the company manages the distributor, right? You have to, if the distributor is not going to get better, that's outside of your control. But what is in your control is you as a company getting better at managing them. And so, but my observation is that Unify, this is just my personal experience, people's are different because people are in different accounts. Unify has gotten better, in my opinion. I think they've gotten more solid. They're easier to reach. The SRMs have improved. Our chargebacks have gone very, very low with Unify. Their buyers have ordered, like, it's the first time I'm saying this in a few years. Like, their ordering is pretty damn good. Every once in a while, they'll make an error. You email them, they'll be, oh, I'm sorry, let me bring that down for you. But I've seen very limited spoilage at Unify. I think KeHE, from my, we launched into a national retailer with KeHE, so maybe I'm just seeing more of that now than before. They haven't really improved. I don't know if they've gotten worse, but they haven't improved. So I just think, not to talk too much about this, but I would say if you are in KeHE or any Unify and these guys, just watch them closely. Make sure they order the right amounts. Make sure they order enough when you're on promotion. Watch the freight rates. Double check everything, and hire someone like VDriven or whoever to fight deductions, because erroneous deductions will happen. I mentioned it last week with Luke on our show. They don't do it maliciously. They're not trying to screw people over. Some people say they are, but I don't think they're intentionally doing that. They're just huge and they have limited resources. So it's good to double check their work. Double check the deductions.
Well, I was going to follow up on a few things you said. So first and foremost, I would say, and this obviously by no means is sugarcoating anything, but I would say one of the things that I've witnessed with both companies over the last 5 years is, especially during the COVID timeframe, is there's been a large amount of turnover. So to your point, talking about people, you get comfortable with someone, boom, they're gone. It's the same thing with category managers, right? You're calling on someone, boom, they're gone. So you miss a review, so on and so forth. So I've seen that personally firsthand happen a lot. Beyond that, I was going to plug VDriven too, because it's all the more reason why, if you don't do it internally, you should have someone else on your behalf monitoring all those things, right? And do that. But lastly, what I was going to say, and you touched on it, is when you set a promotion up with a retailer, right? I don't know how realistic it is to come up with an exact number or even a forecast that's going to be spot on. But you should, especially if it's someone you've done business with for a while, you should have a ballpark idea. Alex, you're $5.99, $6.99, whatever that number is every day, right? So if you do a promo and you're going to do, I don't know, $4.99 or whatever that promo retail is, you in your mind have an idea of what that lift is going to be. So if you see a PO come through and that it's not somewhat in that realm of what your expected lift is going to be with that promotion you've handed out, whether it's 10x and you're expecting 5, or it's 1x and you're expecting 3, red flag, right? Raise your hand and contact that you've set up that promotion. You probably set it up with your retailer. Reach out to your buyer, your category manager, and say, hey, the PO came through, and are you doing a big display because it's 10x and last time we sold 5x? Or, hey, we set up this promotion and the PO came through and it's pretty much their standard PO, and I'm thinking we're going to get a 3 or 4x out of this. So I think that comes back to whoever your sales force is, whether it's internal or it's fractional, or it's someone you've, outsourced, broker, what have you. That individual, whoever set up that promotion, has to own that piece of the equation, right? And make sure that the PO is within those guardrails of whatever the expected lift is. And if you're writing a promo or you're giving a promo to a retailer and you don't have those guardrails, right? You don't have an idea of what you're expecting, like, okay, it's normally we're here and the low end's going to be there and the high end's going to be here. If you don't have those guardrails, stop and redo your strategy, because you're doing it wrong. Am I right?
Yeah. I mean, I think, promotional planning is incredibly important. I just want to side note, Sasha, or Alexandra, we call her Sasha Barova of VDriven, where VDriven just had a masterclass on how to navigate and resolve erroneous deductions. She can send the replay link to anyone interested in watching. You're welcome to post it here in the comments, Sasha, or you can DM her and she'll send it over to you. But I think when it comes to promotions, you just have to have a really tight promotional calendar. When you're going to promote, why do you promote in those months? Make sure there's no crossover, and then you need to look at data. I mean, it's all about data, right? At the end of the day, if you know that you're going to move a certain amount of volume on sale, and you do that sale again, you go back to the history. What did we move during that last sale? Okay, instead of moving 1,000 units a week, we moved 4,000 units a week. And it was from these DCs. And here were the orders from each of these DCs. You just do the same thing again, right? And I think that's probably the best way to do it is have data. I'm a big fan of making sure the DCs have enough product. So you may want to, you know, you send enough to where you don't run out during the promotion, because that is I mean, you're nodding. That is probably one of the cardinal sins, and running a promotion, all the labor and putting up tags and, stores doing everything around the promotions. And if you have leftover inventory after the promotion, you can run another small promotion or do something to move it out of that warehouse. Right. So, yeah.
I was going to say this comment's from Derek, and he says, distributor inventory should be high enough to cover any lift. I push back on all promo lift orders, and all it does is help bring inventories closer to where they should be. And all I said is I agree with that on the grocery side, 100% agree and support that. But when you're talking about perishable product, you have to think about it more closely, right? I mean, you can't, when you've got what's your product, Alex, shelf life?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it, 6 months at the highest, but it could be sent out with as little as 60 days on it, right?
Right. And that's the thing that, speaking from a retailer's perspective, when you're looking at refrigerated or perishable product, the guarantee from one of the suppliers, the aforementioned suppliers, there's that word again, when you're looking at the guarantee shelf life from them, you might only have 14 days guaranteed from them. So while Alex produces it at 6 months, the guarantee, quote unquote, that I might get it is 14 days. So that's the thing that you have to think about. So if selfishly, again, looking at it from a retailer's perspective, I have to accept, if it has 15 days on it, I have to accept it because the guarantee is 14. So that's where that fine line comes in when you're talking about perishable product and that window of inventory. So I'd love to have a never-ending supply of perishable inventory, but then I also don't want a never-ending supply of perishable inventory that has 25% of its manufactured shelf life, right? Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. Yeah. It's really, there's no easy answer to all this. It's really a balancing act. And with most things, it's very surgical, right? You have to adjust and pivot in the moment on what makes sense for that promotion, for that store, for that time of the year. Work with the buyers, right? And be like, okay, this is going to be a big promotion. Do you mind if I send you more product? And then you can also look, I mean, people run promotions, they organize promotions a year in advance, right? Of the companies that I think have their bearings and have things together. So ahead of time, you need to plan for productions that if you're running a promotion, do a production sooner, closer to the promotion, so you're sending fresher product. What a lot of companies do, which I think is brilliant, is they have two different lots. They have an older lot and they have a newer lot, right? As they go through the older lot, they have a newer lot. If you have a customer that flies off the shelf, like within 5 days, like their highest selling DC in the country, you can afford to send them lower shelf life product. If there's a DC that is slower, like, our Cahey Douglasville DC is the slowest, right? But Cahey Chino is really fast. So we can actually compartmentalize and say, we're going to send the newer product to Douglasville so that there's much more time on that on the shelf. And it also takes another 5 days to get there on top of all that. And then Chino, which is right around the corner, it could have, 30 days instead of 40, because we know it's going to crank at the stores that are pulling out of Chino. So it gets really detailed and surgical. And that's where, Wade, it comes back to having a really good team that's managing all this. And founders that have small companies, they don't have that kind of team. And that's where they run into problems. They're overwhelmed. They can't watch everything. And then before they know it, product's going bad.
Right. And again, if you're on the dry grocery shelves, it's not as big of a deal as the refrigerated perishable side. But I will raise my hand and say this, that one of the things that I've seen more so in the last few years, and I think it actually started before COVID, and I don't know if you can speak to this or not. I don't know if it's applicable to you, but I've seen warehouses um, really cutting back on the amount of inventory that they hold.
Yep.
And that wasn't the case my goodness, I don't know, my first 12, 15 years in the business. I mean, I think that in fact, going back to my Ohio days, we had a program there on the grocery side where, and gosh, I don't want to advertise it. I had a program where I could purchase quote unquote inventory, and my wholesaler would hold it for me. And I had like a 6 or 8 week window to pull that inventory in, but they weren't afraid to bring that inventory in with my commitment to buy it over that duration, right? That 6 to 8 weeks. I guarantee you, if I pitched that program to any of my wholesale partners, or going back the ones I've done business with, they'd laugh in my face, right? I mean, it's at some point, and I think it started when I still had it, but I was grandfathered in with that program. But I feel like it's gotten more and more the opposite end of the spectrum, where they're living PO to PO.
Yep.
Right? They don't want to have more than the absolute necessary amount before that next PO comes in. And what I'm seeing now, it's to a detriment of sales from a retail perspective, sales from a wholesale perspective, and obviously sales from a brand perspective. That inventory it's not managed well from point A to point B to point C, for that matter. It's just not, and it's getting progressively worse. And I think I've said this a lot of times, not necessarily on this podcast, but I feel like COVID across the board, so many people use COVID as a crutch for this happened and that happened and what have you. But the fact of the matter is, what we're talking about is dollars and cents, and it's saving money, right? I mean, they're not writing checks for $20,000 POs. They're writing checks for $5,000, and they're hoping that the next one's going to come in before that last case hits the truck, and it's not good enough. Am I right?
Yeah, I mean, I think the inverse on the other side of the coin is that if you have brands that are out of stock, that's lost sales. So like, it could go either way, right? Like, you want to order, I get it. Like, when you're floating inventory, you're losing money in storage space and pallet spaces. You're also floating money to the vendor, right? You're paying them before you even sell through it. So I get all that. This is where models like Costco win a lot more, because Costco, like, you send it to their DC. It was funny. I was talking with Bilal Sadiq of Balani's at Fancy Food Show, and they have their own trucks, right? He does this delicious flatbread. Just plug for Balani's and Bilal. Bilal's the coolest guy, best guy ever. And that's a one side note, but the product is amazing as well. He told me a story where he dropped off a pallet or several pallets of their flatbread to a Costco DC in the morning. He went to run errands. Then he went to a local Costco later on that day just to do some shopping. His product was in there, the one he dropped off that morning. So there's companies like Publix that do that. Publix, they have their own trucks. They deliver 7 days a week, because you're Louisiana, so you remember. And they're really good at their direct distribution. Where it gets messy is when you have a middle man, just a middle person, and you have to rely on them to order the right amounts. And that distributor is delivering to so many different retailers that sell fast, retailers that sell slow. And I come back to it because we can talk forever, where you have to have a great team to manage all of this. And if you're going to over-index in a certain area in your business, it's operations. Like, right. You can never have enough operations people, because you want to hire salespeople because they're going to build sales. But what the hell is the point of selling if the product is out of stock, or you're losing money because it's not being properly managed on the operation side. I do have one note to make that I also want to voice as an issue that I noticed with Kehi, and other people commented on this before we move on, is when you look up their chargebacks, you have to go into their portal. It's called Kehi Connect, and you go to KSolve, and you're nodding like you probably have seen this, and they only show you the last 3 months. That's problem A. You know, if you want to, oh, I saw this chargeback from 7 months ago for $5,000. What was that? You don't know, because they don't keep it on file. They only do the last 3 months. And then I looked at it, and they had a 1-line description, spoilage or shortage or UDR or whatever it is. And I'm like, where's the backup? You know, and then so sometimes they have backup, sometimes they don't. And that's also, I think, a pain point for a lot of brands. So just want to mention that.
We probably could have made this an extended episode and going on and on about all this. It's unfortunate, but it's important, and it's just great. I feel, you know, going off the record here, that that you brought this up this week and put it out there, because, you know, we again, time and time again, you hear, oh, I got in this many doors and launching nationwide at Sprouts and Whole Foods. On and on and on and on and on. You hear all these positive things, but the not down and out, but the blood, sweat, and tears, I feel like, aside from there are certainly some exceptions. There are some people that absolutely 100% keep things real and show that aspect of this business. But as a whole, we as a community need to think about that and really be transparent. I mean, what you did this week took guts. I mean, you called out one of the two major distributors, national distributors in this business. You called them out essentially by tagging them. You did that in a public forum, and it takes guts to do that. But what you did was a service to so many people in this community, letting them know of this issue. And you know, I've talked, you know this, I talk outside my role. I talk to brands and founders and people all the time about the business. And if you're not well educated into what goes on in this business, and you read too much into the sunny skies and, you know, the rainbows and all that stuff that goes on, you're going to burn out and just smoke out fast. It's just not going to be a long-term play for you, because you have to know what you're getting into. And the capital piece that keeps coming up, and I'm probably going off on a soapbox here, but the capital piece right now, capital's gone. I mean, it's dried up, and you know, you're not going to hit a money tree like you would have 3 or 4 years ago. It's really, really rough right now. So now more than ever, you have to know where your money goes, whether it's for slotting fees, whether it's for demos, whether it's for, you know, free fills, on and on and on and on, promotional. If you aren't managing that, and chargebacks, everything Alex talked about in his post this week, stop what you're doing and reach out to someone that knows the business. V-driven, we talk about all the time. Get some help, because you're just going to burn money and go out of business.
Exactly. And I think there's well said, Wade, very well said. And there's a psychology where when you pay for something, you know, let's say, you know, someone comes up to you on the street, let's say you're, you know, hey, if you want to buy these raw materials for your product, it's going to cost you $5,000 more because the price of ginger went up or whatever you're buying. And you're like, damn, that's a lot of money. Fine. You're like, you would think about it for a long time. Like, can I go to somewhere else? Can I go to a different supplier? So you're trying to save $5,000, right? What if you get a check from a distributor and there's $5,000 deducted, right? I guarantee that less people are worried about that. People are worried about it. Don't get me wrong, but they're going to look at it as shit happens. That's the cost of doing business. No, it's like every line item should be checked. Like Wade said it. I just keep harping on this. Get someone V-driven, hire your own person, get someone to check every single line item. Maybe 70% of them are good. 30% of them are probably not. That's the average. And that could amount to tens of thousands of dollars. You could probably pay a full-time employee for the money you recover from chargebacks. The other thing I want to say, just in general, Wade, is that there are brands that I thought were bulletproof. I'm not saying the brand bulletproof, but just nothing could bring them down. Correct me if I'm wrong, but like brands like Smashmallow, I don't see them anymore. They were like, I haven't seen them in stores in a while.
Right.
I don't know if they're done or what's going on with them, but they were a big brand 5 years ago, right? They were approaching 20 million. They were out of Sonoma Brands, which is a great organization. John Sebastiani, smart guy, very smart guy. And these are brands that are just going by the wayside because they run out of money, or there's too many chargebacks, or it's too much to promote. They don't have a solid enough margin. So if you're seeing brands that are doing 20 million plus going out of business, that's a cause for concern where you have to have your I's dotted and your T's crossed, like what Wade was talking about.
Definitely. Yeah. And I think, before we get on to the next segment, because I know we're running out of time here, Sean said this well, like hopefully brokers, if you're using one, right? So when applicable, are pre-prepping you before you even consider meeting retailer, slotting, reclaim, promo expectations, etc. And that's a very, very solid point, because so many times everyone thinks, oh, broker's going to get me in these doors. And they might, and they will in some cases. But if they're not telling you everything that Sean just listed there, like what that's going to cost, that's a problem, right? I mean, that's the problem. It's those things are the things that are going to cost you money, and more than likely are going to turn a profit into a loss. Is all those other things. If you're just signing a retainer, whether it's a percentage or a flat fee, and not understanding what you're getting back in return, and or what that potential business is going to cost you. A broker can get you into Publix, a broker can get you into Sprouts or Whole Foods. That doesn't mean you're going to have the money to do that, right? I mean, if you don't have the capital to produce the product and to take care of all those fees that Sean listed just there, it doesn't matter if they get you in there or not, because it's not going to be profitable, and doing the math real quickly, if you do a free fill for, do your case math. If a case costs you $10 and you have to free fill 100, 200, 300, whatever that number is, how many stores, you have to give that away and wait for them to reorder before you break even, let alone turn a profit. So just, again, we could talk about this all day, but it's just important to think about.
Totally. I mean, Luke said it yesterday. Our episode was yesterday, right? Last week, that not only are free fills expensive, but they charge at the book price on top of all that, which is 35% more than what your average selling price is. So it's kind of like there's a lot of broken areas. Like, I think the overall category, the overall business, I love CPG. I love selling, food and beverage. I love building brands. I love being in stores. I love being online. It's cool to see a brand grow and also help people's lives, and they get something healthy for their lives. But there's elements that are broken that need to be fixed, and it's just the reality. So there's a couple comments, Wade, I wanted to read, and then we'll go to our stuff we love. I know we're over time. Yeah, there's no script, right? So we go over. So LinkedIn user, I don't have their, I'm trying to look up their name.
I'll find it. That is Derek, I think.
Derek Brawley.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah. So Unify Zendesk. I know there's the other thing that, man, we can keep going. So there's Unify Clearview, where you can get access to your inventory, but then they charge you for it. It's like, okay. So that's weird. That's why we don't do it. It's like we're paying 1% to 2% of our revenue just to see our inventory. It's like, really? So that makes it harder, but Unify has been pretty damn solid. I've been able to figure out that the deductions, it's very transparent, and that's why our spoilage is so low with Unify. So there's other things happening. I just wanted to shout that out. But thanks for those that are Unify, want to decode your chargebacks. What Derek just posted is a really good resource for that. All right. So part 2 to be continued, I'm sure. Let's go to the stuff that we love, and we'll go quickly into our prize because we are over time. But what do you got going on this week, Wade?
Just hanging out. Just a Super Bowl this weekend. It's going to be cold, windy. So it's good football weather, inside weather anyhow. So not much. And we work towards closing this house deal. How about you?
And I was just going to say, like, with how much we've talked about this week, we didn't even have time to talk about the Super Bowl.
Right. I don't have a team. I mean, I tend to root for an AFC team simply because that's where the Browns and the Bengals, the Ohio teams are. But I'm indifferent. How about you?
I mean, I'm not a huge football guy. I mean, I'm more of a hockey guy, but I would say the 49ers, right? They're out. And that was like, I know that much.
Yep. You got the Eagles, the Philadelphia Eagles, the Kansas
City Chiefs.
Yep.
So like the 49ers are out. California, I'm in California. Like, that was a bummer. I was cheering for the Bengals because I love their helmet design. And I also, because majority because of you, because you're an Ohio guy, and they're out. So it's kind of like, what the hell am I doing? I'm cheering for the commercials now. So stuff we love real quick. We got the Synergy. It's called the Sacred Life. This was a limited edition one from GT, and it became a permanent one. It's blue-green algae. It's amazing. It has fresh pressed ginger, blue spirulina, sorry, not blue-green algae, and black tea, green tea, kiwi juice, young coconut water. This is fucking great. This is a weird one. Okay, I'm going to turn it down a little more. I met the guy that last week that created this brand. His name is Tyler. I can't remember his last name. What do you think this is? We won't go there. So this is called Boom Boom, okay, which is a really funny name. He's been out for 7 years. This is a nasal stick that is wintergreen, and they have on their Instagram and TikTok, they have people doing this, and it clears your sinuses.
So is it an allergy thing, or is it just I've got a stuffy nose, I'm going to use that? What's going on?
It's like stuffy nose, allergies.
Whatever.
It's not like what is that called? Nafrin, or the one that you spray or whatever. I can't remember the Nazine or whatever. Okay. This is like literally a stick. It looks like chapstick or something. You put it up your nose. You snort. You basically kind of breathe in, and because of the strong vapors, it clears your nose. And when I tried it, that was my response. Okay. And when I tried, I'm like, where has this been my entire life? So I'm like, driving, right. It looks like I have an addiction or something when I'm driving. So that's, it's called Boom Boom Nasal Stick. It's in the cold and flu section at your local, whatever. Go to their website, Boom Boom. Wade, do you have anything on your side?
Yeah, I'll go quick. And this is a future sponsor. And I got these pretty quickly after you and I talked. So I've got these going on.
I did get those, the Wims. Thank you for sending those, sir. Thank you.
Yes. So it's oat milk chocolate peanut butter cups. What I really, aside from the taste, and obviously they're going to sponsor the show, we'll talk about it, but the chocolate was so smooth, right? I mean, it was just really, yes, awesome. Excuse me. And then I'm pretty sure I've shown this brand before, maybe not, but I caught up with my good friend Michael Bell with Manacora Honey, and he sent me, I'm sure he's going to be at Expo, but he sent me this nice little packet. I've got some sticks, so you can do those on the go just for a quick energy boost or what have you. He's great. We carried those in California. Sounds like he's doing very well across, but it's New Zealand Manuka honey. Great stuff and great person. So Manacora, shout out. Good stuff.
Cool. I just posted the website for Wims. It got lost the first time. Not his fault. It took him a couple times to get it to me, but it's Jesse Baruch. How you pronounce his name. And thank you for sending those. I also want to give a shout out just to people that we love and companies we love, is Rich Insights. They did a study for us on our new Genius Wellness Shots. Wade, this thing was amazing. He did a focus group, a full PowerPoint of people that were looking at our brand on shelf. He actually slotted it into a real shelf, our concept brand for the Genius Shots, and he heat mapped where people were looking. And he reported back to us what people liked, what people didn't like. It was really high tech. I had a phone call with him at 5:30 a.m. this morning because that was the only time we could both do it. And he walked me through it, and it's really helped us. So Rich Insights, which is Wade's favorite Tumblr of all time.
That's absolutely. I use it every day. No exaggeration to work. But the other thing I would say about that is I feel like I'm pretty sure Parker Olson with Forage
Parker also did one.
He posted something this week, and same thing. Yep. I mean, so yeah, if you're looking for some feedback on packaging, Rich is your guy.
Cool. All right. So the next segment, which is called Friday Freebies.
Friday Freebies.
Okay, so I will look it up, but I want to first.
I've got it. I was going to say I've got it ready. If you've got a question, I'm queued up. I'm ready to go.
Cool. You want to also go into the V-driven stuff?
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, I could do V-driven too. V-driven is a CPG partner for emerging purpose-driven brands. They fuel growth, innovation, providing strategy support every phase of retail journey, leadership coaching, brand management, accounting, sales strategy, day-to-day tactical support. They're the end-to-end solution for the brand's business needs. Their leadership team has decades, no exaggeration, of real-life experience in all key areas of business and knows what it takes to help brands succeed. So Luke Abbott, guest last week, operations, marketing, sales, you name it, they can help you. Deduction management, all that stuff. So that's Luke Abbott, V-driven. Check them out. That's our ongoing sponsor. This week's prize sponsor is As You're Clean. And I think I posted the link there, right? Yes, I did. So As You're Clean and Ginny Gregory, Karen Slusher, they're giving away 3 of their top products. So you got a stain and odor eliminator, and Oxygen Powers bleach powder.
Gavin Conkle needs that one.
Yeah, right? And a dish soap. So it's a $30+ retail value, but their products are a full line of cleaners for residential and commercial use, free of phosphate, dyes, SOS. I'm going to name all these letters. I don't even know what they are, but I'm sure they're bad. SLS, SLES, BUTL, chlorine, animal testing, free of all those things. Not good for you, but their products are environmentally friendly, powerful, and plant-based. So they're good for the earth, and they're great for cleaning. So thank you, Jenny and Karen, for your support. Missy J's we talked about. Good stuff. No?
I'm just saying.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was gonna say good. Right? Yeah. Good product. Yeah. That was a good. Not no.
It was not. No, it doesn't. It wasn't a. No.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
All right. So, question. I'm going to make it a little easier this week because we're out of time, and I think the last few weeks have been a little brutal. I gave away the answer last week, so that was easy. But beyond that, it's been a little bit hard. So we want to make this nice and clean, easy, free of any dyes, free of any toxicity, just super, I think, an easy answer. Who is the brand, and what is the brand, and who is the founder for the company we talked about that did all 3 shows this past week? And he or she posted it on LinkedIn.
I'm gonna miss that out.
Who is it?
I got it. No, I had to think about it. I thought you were. I was going towards 50 Minutes of Genius. I got it.
So, who was the person, and what is the brand? Julie Elder got it. Well, half of it. Who is the person? Not Genius Juice. We definitely we out of the 3 we were at 0. We had our own show.
So we're waiting. We already know Julie got it, but we want to plug because we still have a handful of people listening now. We have to plug next week's show because I keep checking my phone, and until it happens and we're live on the show next week, I'm not going to believe this is real. But if all goes according to plan, Jimbo from Jimbo's Naturally in San Diego,
the man, J-Dog,
is going to be is going to be on the show next week. And that's, I mean, just, you have to understand, if you're in this space, and you don't know who Jimbo is, you should, number one, first and foremost. But I call him the OG of National Organic. I call him the I would say the godfather of space, right? I mean, there's so many things that I can say. He helped create Michael Bendos. He helped create Infra. He's one of the driving forces to this day in this business. You talk about innovation and cutting edge, plastic-free water aisles, regenerative agriculture, on and on and on. I'm not just saying that because I work there. He is truly, truly Hall of Fame status in the space. And if all goes well, Alex, he's going to be here next week.
Yeah, and it looks like things are going well. So it's a likelihood that he is going to be here. We're confirming it with our people to his people.
Our people are calling his people.
Exactly.
And we have people now, Alex. We have people.
Yeah, person. People
yes,
are person. Singular.
Yes.
Soon to be people, but right now
yes.
person. Which is Keen, our great vibe man. But yeah, no, super excited. I've actually never met him in person. I've met him through email. That's about it. And I echo that, where I really respect him for all the reasons you mentioned, but he's also very particular about what ingredients are on a label. And that's what I really love about him, beyond the Jimbo's stores and how great they are. Being just a great staple for San Diego and beyond. He just really looks at ingredients, and he's very particular about what goes in his stores. And I love that about him.
Yep.
All right. So other guests we're going to have as well, just after Daniel Scharf, Startup CPG. He's going to be on February 24th. David Greenfeld, who is the answer. Oh, wow. Look at that. So Michael, I'm talking to the mic here. Michael Bendo said that Jimbo discontinued his number one SKU in grocery to eliminate plastic use bottles.
True story.
If that is not epic, I don't know what is. So that's pretty amazing. Unwavered for his mission. All right. So make sure to tune in next week. We will be back with our aforementioned guest, Jimbo. That's going to be February 17th. So fresh off Valentine's Day. We should probably get a chocolate sponsor in the house, right?
Right.
So yeah, we actually, and I got to say too, if you want to be a sponsor, if you'd like to be on a guest on our show, there is a form to fill out, which we will put in the comments. We're no longer taking emails. This is all by form. We're getting organized here. We're
trying.
Organized.
We're trying. And the other thing we didn't talk about, and I don't want to open up a complete rabbit hole right now, but we are potentially thinking about changing our name.
That is true.
And you can see a post from myself or Alex this week and chime in there. We're getting close. I think we're getting pretty close to picking a winner. So if you haven't gave some input yet, do it now, because we're gonna come up with a new name pretty quick.
Yeah, it could be anything from the ideas we had here, CP Genius. There's like Shelf Talkers. We can make it our initials, ABWY. I mean, we could do whatever we want.
Right.
Probably not catchy enough. But yeah, keep on submitting your ideas in Wade's post. And we're eventually going to pick a winner. And then the winner gets to be on our show, right?
I guess. That's right.
Very cool. Except for, what if Gavin Conkle comes up with the name?
We'll have to
we can bring on.
We'll have to talk about it.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll have to run that by our board, right?
That's right.
Yeah. All right. So, well, take care, buddy. Love you. Great show today. Buddy. Thanks, everyone, for all your support. And we shall catch you next week, Friday, 2:30 p.m. Pacific, 5:30 Eastern. Take care.